Most learning in the least amount of time. So I just want to tell you, it's going to be a sprint. We're going to just push and push and push as much as you can take. We go late into the night. You feel free to put your head down. Seriously, I mean, just crash somewhere. But we really want to use this time to get you smart fast. So that's what we're going to do. Arison Institute has approved this as a course for continuing education CEUs. So you can fill out a form that I have right here with Megan. There's a form in my briefcase that you got to fill out. We send it to Chip, and you can get credit. So you need to write up something and represent the experience as a requirement. You can log in to our database, childrenstech.com. With your registration, you get a year access. The password is it's Duster Magic is the email, and then the password is Sandy. I wonder why we picked that. And that will give you the ability to search the database of everything that we've looked in. And so that's one of the things that always happens is you'll hear or see a demo, or for example, Fair Lady folks, and you say, what was that one again? And you can search and find it and know exactly what it was and so on. That was the first Duster Magic. That's the picture that's missing. And every other year is there. And if you look real close, you'll see a young Kelly Winters and a young Darren Karstens, 12 years ago.
Younger.
Younger. Peter Reynolds drew this one year. Right now we're in the trends. We're going to have a look at these. Then we go to dinner and listen to Jesse. And then tonight we have advice for whippersnappers with Mark. So that's what's coming up. There we go. This is my student. Darren did bring his cornet, but the good news is Matthew, who's been teaching him as well, is going to help us a little bit. Okay, all right. But the cornet is in the room, so that was pretty fun. One thing I've noticed is that greeting cards have more RAM than your local computer. Yeah, hook me up with sound. So, for those of you who came from Holland, this is what the United States is like. So that's a $6 card, right? $7 that does all this stuff. This is New York. So, just to warn you, you're on the East Coast, be careful. Be careful. People, I call it the punch hug. Yeah, punch you and then they hug you. There's a lot of love out here, but you got to find it the right way. Okay, so there was a lot of magic. These are all the higher rated apps that Chris and I reviewed, apps in video games and so on. There's a lot of really good work that was done in the past year that I saw, and I'm just one source. And here's just ones to try today. By the time you leave, I want you to try these. These are called do-nows. All right, I want you to do these, touch these apps. One is the Wii U. Now we've got two of them right over there. Right over there. Right, Matthew? That's true. It is a game console, and I want you to try it, all right? One reason is because of the psychology. Two-screen play will move you and rock the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to E3 where the Wii U is announced. Look at this. What is a baseball mitt? This is what you see. X-ray vision. This is Nintendo Land, which is we have on both of these, so you can try this.
From a totally different perspective, the two guards.
Hide and go seek. The person with the Wii U controller is like God. They have the God's eye view, where everyone else with the regular controllers only sees a piece, and so you have to go and find the other players. Lots of things. So I'm tilting using the accelerometers. It turns into a tray of food, and I have to get it around to the restaurant. So you're assisting by popping things in the screen. This is two-player.
Oh, hi guys. Mario. Bring down blocks.
This is truly a cooperative game. Did you give her that lifesaver? What's unique about this is you're rolling the actually flipping the surface with the velocity to knock things with shuffleboard. It turns it into a shuffleboard game. Slingshot. This is like Angry Birds when I'm pulling and launching. The guy with the Wii U is the DJ, and he's controlling the songs while everybody else dances.
Here, is it embarrassment, humiliation? What are you working on?
More so humiliation than embarrassment.
So this is Donkey Kong Crash Course. It's coming out when the Wii U is released. And so it's like a magnifying glass on the giant screen, so you get that 72-inch display, and the Wii U is one piece of it, and you kind of look around the screen. Sweet.
Oh, so you worked with Raymond for a long time?
This is from Ubisoft. Ubisoft's doing some amazing work.
Yes. So it's going to shoot.
Matthew, that's the guy who invented Scribble-On. That's his voice. That's cool, huh?
You can squiggle and squiggle. Let's see if you get 14 inches.
This is one that they haven't released. This is last year when they first were showing the Wii U behind the back. I just love this game because you actually try to make a line that's 13 inches long on the panel.
You're going to be able to look up at the sky.
It's like the thing Bob showed.
Look down at the ground. You can even check out who's behind you in the bus. Let's turn all the way around. And there's a bee behind you. You're going to bring the towel up.
Somebody put some gum under the seat. It's horrible.
Bring the towel down to zoom out.
So you need to know about that because of the psychology of two screens. The big screens are a big constant, it's not going away, but now we've got this whole interaction between the two, and it sort of opened up this new 3D dimension. Obviously, Apple TV gives us the ability to do that, and other tablets, and we just came from Consumer Electronics Show where we saw these amazingly clear, thin screens that are just getting more amazing. So, new opportunities, new ways to reach kids. The iPad Mini came out this year. Really, I think, an exciting, another way. Now, I think of it as the three little bears: middle, little, and big. So I just call it. You call your iPod Touch the Mini. It's cheaper. It's a new way to get to all those iPad apps for $330. So that's good news. And then the Nexus 7 and the Kindle Fire HD. We don't have a Nexus 7 here, although one of you might have one, but the Fire HD is back there. And the other day, a kid picked up the Fire and started playing Toka Hair 2 on it. Thought it was an iPad, didn't know. And I said, so what do you think about it? And really didn't know, and that's really important because kids don't care about the platform, they want the experience. So I think that's really, I think the business is good. The Vinci tab, oh, by the way, a whole new market system, this whole buffet that you basically, and Amazon is one of the only people in the world that could do this to compete with everybody else, where you pay a price to get pre-screened apps, and you don't have to deal with in-app sales and all the gimmicks that sort of been plaguing Apple, and that's really important. I think it sends a message to Apple, and it sends a message to anybody else that people just don't want the gimmicks. They want the experience. And I was excited by the app selection. I was able to find Ocean House Media. I was able to find Tokaboka's first app. I'm starting to see Duck Duck Moose has 2 apps in there. So it's really great, and I'm looking forward to the day when you don't know if it's, what brand of hardware you're playing. It's multi-touch. There's a lot of really low quality Android, and I think that people are going to start noticing. The Tabio was, look at the screen. I mean, the Android is just full of dust, So make sure you try Letter School. Try an augmented reality experience. We have the wine. It's good for that. We also have the Book of Wonders. Matthew, you tried that, right? Did it crash? Oh man. Okay, well we'll try it again later. But what's kind of cool, do you have the book there? Can you hold it up, the actual book? And yeah, so that's really cool. Wait, bring it up here, let me see it. It's like a giant QR code. Yeah. And so, when you turn the page, it recognizes and you're using Harry Potter's doing spells and so on. It's very interesting technology that will crash and burn. Why? Because it's built into every tablet. And Imaginatron was one of the better examples of augmented reality that I saw. So try that. Definitely try Imaginatron. I've got the book here, and the app's $1, the book's $14. It's paper. So, where's Pauline? This is Pauline. You're going to be showing us some things over in Holland. This is augmented reality on steroids. You build the puzzle, you build a giant QR code, and then you have to, when that puzzle comes together, giant things start happening on the screen. So that was really cool. Just one of these sort of physical computing examples that I was fortunate enough to discover this year. And I think I've got some other ones. Skylanders was a huge story this year because they're making money. They're making a lot of money. So they're sort of taking over the Webkinz idea. We've got Skylanders here. Check it out. It uses RFID codes so that you can take your Skylander over to your friend's house. All the capabilities come with it. It's kind of like Pokemon idea where your Pokemon learns, which is really cool. Kids still like physical toys. They like collecting. These are play patterns that are really magic play patterns. Skylanders was just like one of the only bright spots because all the competitions died out. Everybody's afraid. So don't be afraid of it. It's if you can figure it out, you can do time. 3D printing was another thing. Is Robin here yet? Oh, Robin. Okay. So another one we gave a Cappy Prize to. So you're going to talk about this? This is how, look at this kid. Look at this kid. This is my, I love this. So it's significant, it's just another way, and that's what the 3D printer. The orchestra, basically, I keep looking at Don for this, Don Rowich, co-inventor of the Oregon Trail, back this year. It's so great to have you. We heard Teo Gray at App Camp talk about how to go in the periodic table. They went into an orchestra, and so it's a powerful, powerful experience, and with that multi-touch idea, the ability to go in and zoom in on one instrument and have a look at it and see the score in real time. This is a state of the art right now. Really blew me away, Chris. Going back to Amsterdam. This is called the Giants in the Neighborhood. What's that right? It's 10,000 lumen projector. It's deep in a brick wall. He's controlling the puppet that he drew. So the kids are controlling these. Now, a lot of what we're talking about is child empowerment. I talk about letter school, the way you touch the screen and bam, you feel powerful. You feel powerful when the Kinect controller sees you and you can move that giant puppet that's 30 feet high. So, really an awesome example of physical computing, but a lot of work that went into that. So another one I want to share with us. 5 apps to learn from, or dust. Busy Town, reviewers go after licensed characters. If we see Busy Town, if we see a Disney, if we see Sesame Street, we know the parents are going to be expecting something, so we go after it. We review it. We want to be relevant and so on. So I reviewed this, and it was just pretty much a disaster. And it's going to damage the brand, so if you want to see what not to do, I can start that one up for you. This was another one I didn't like at all. I would challenge anyone, except perhaps Matthew, anyone with a master's degree, the more education the better, to try to just turn this bloody thing on. And I think what people are forgetting is that anything that gets between the finger and the experience is just, it gets in the way. And so kids want to draw, they just want to draw. So you have to make, if you've got a physical device, be careful. Now, Daniel Tiger is a bit controversial, and I'm hoping we can have some good arguments about this, because it's not a bad app. There's a lot of mediocrity going on in the app space. I would argue that this deserves a low rating just because the consumers don't know better. This could be so much better, and it's important. I care about Mr. Rogers, I care about the brand. I want this to be nothing short of excellent and 5 stars. And it wasn't. The limitations were, I could just show you about 5 or 10 of them. And so we're gonna go after it. And it's not just reviewers, people in the ratings are brutal, and they'll tell the truth. So you have to be careful. Learn from that. This is an example of trying to use multi-touch to teach grip for a pencil, and it just doesn't work, in my opinion. This is Snow White. It's a reading character. Start it up. Look at the menu. What do you see at the menu? Right away, let's get on Facebook and tweet about it. And so you can see right away, it was just thrown together, put up there, trying to cash in on Snow White. Maybe confuse it with a Nosy Crow app or something that's good. That's Cinderella, actually. So, but a lot of mixing with social media. We need, actually, Picky Teacher needs to have a stern lecture with you about this. Just mixing it. You got to understand that boundary. All right, so this one I didn't think worked. That one didn't work. it's going to be tough to sell a camera anymore, but people are trying. Claire,
Yes.
what did you see?
Yes.
Do you want to do a rundown?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on up, Claire Green, Parents' Choice. And then Robin, I asked you if you would give us some trends. And Scott, you got some trends?
Yeah.
What should we be talking about at this year's Duster Magic?
Warren is very specific in his emails and in this offhand about trends. Oh, could you just throw 3 bullets out?
Well, we don't do bullets anymore. So nerve things. Here's what I think. I don't know what any of those things are. What I think is ebooks. Warren, we know Warren's going to do a seminar, and you're going to do another app camp, Duster Magic for ebooks. To me, if we can make tantalizing, fabulous ebooks and create them to the point where they become as collectible as Beanie Babies were, we're going to be on to a nation of readers. And we sorely need kids to read. So make those ebooks fabulous, inviting, tantalizing, instructive in lots of ways, and that would be great. We know kids are curious. That doesn't change at all. And as you said, that David said, just the devices or the media changes. So kids are really curious, and they're really hungry. And they're hungry for great stuff. So no matter what you're making, and there are a lot of people in here that I can or can't see, who make some wonderful things. Others are so many fresh and new faces. I'm excited to meet you all. No matter what it is that you're making, even if you're making a glazed donut, make it a fabulous glazed donut.
I think that's a big tweet.
Asparagus and broccoli are great, but you just can't do it all the time. But really, just do your best and make it that way. Don't confuse the issue. If it's, as you said just a few minutes ago, if it's going to be basic, do the best job at basic you possibly can. And collaboration, I think, is another key. We have to teach our kids what collaboration is, how to do it across media. Oh, she's writing. She's taking notes. Because it's such a key skill for the world in which we live now and in which they will be running in a very short amount of time. So collaborate, let the kids direct the learning, continue to. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Claire.
Sure.
Claire, what's winning the Parents' Choice Awards this year? Anything? I mean,
No.
product that
We're
you...
back. No.
Okay, all right.
No, but we have a new round.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the very same.
Robin Raskin, former editor and publisher at Family PC and Zip Davis, and now runs the digital Living in Digital Times. And I work with Robin with the Cathy's, and that's why I get to go to CES. Robin has got a great view from 30,000 feet on the space, and so I'm curious I asked Robin if she would also share some thoughts.
But I thought it was tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'll share them now. So actually, it's great. The one good thing about Hurricane Sandy was that I got to go to CES first and see everything and report now. So if I told you what the most popular in terms of press hits product was at all of CES, you'd probably all, anybody have any idea besides the $20,000 television? Darren? The iPod was second, but the first one was called the Happy Fork. Now the Happy Fork is a fork, and if you eat too quickly, it shocks you. So how happy, right? How happy could that be? So it really struck me. What you saw at CES this year was, I called it people are calling it the Internet of Things. I'm calling it the Internet of really small things. These really tiny bits of genius, like the Happy Fork, that are going to permeate our lives, and we'll all be carrying all of these electronic things. But yes, the potty was second. And that was like a stand where you put your iPad while you potty train your child. The other thing, and Warren knows how I feel about this and why I was so happy that Cubify got the CAPI Award, I think that making things in general, and if you haven't had the opportunity to go to a maker fair, either in California or New York right now, you really should, to see entire families, cross-generation, making things out of everything, out of chips, out of garbage, out of fabric, out of everything. The man that kind of, I believe, started this revolution and coined the name Makers was Dale Darty, who is the editor-in-chief of Make magazine. I'm a big believer in what he's doing. Now, my other Hurricane Sandy story is when the kids in New York were all running around going, I don't know when my cell phone doesn't work, it has batteries. So to them, they have no connection between the fact that, yeah, there's a cell tower and the cell tower needs electricity. It just doesn't go there. So as much as they're using and dealing with technology, they have no idea what they're using and dealing with. And that's why we were really happy to see Little Bits and Cubify and Dale Darty recognized at CES as starting something that I believe will be so incredibly important. The other thing...
Before, Robin, we've got snap bits right here, the little bits.
Little bits.
So there's a complete kit. One of the things I want you all to do is make something. Snap these things together. That's not, you don't have an option. We also have Siftio cubes or somewhere. Let's figure those out. And we have bucky balls. If you don't, try some.
And there's Make on the market. There's a number of these things now. There's actually MakerBot has opened a store in Soho where you can go in and make things. I think we're going to see more things like that. I think it's going to become a group experience for kids to go in the way they go in now and make those pottery things, that they'll be making electronics. And I was actually doing trid with my niece last night and said, God, I know so much more about why cosines and sines are important than I did when I learned them out of context so many years ago. But that's mostly thanks to Darren. But anyhow, the final thing that I want to talk about that is unbelievably huge at CES, and the movement is called the quantified self, because they needed another term, and that is the idea of basically treating your body as an input-output device where you're measuring everything that you eat in and everything that you expend out. Most of the new, what used to be a fancy digital pedometer is now measuring 6 or 7 different senses: galvanic skin response, heartbeat, pulse rate, sweat, amount of exertion. GeoPals in particular launched a new one called iBits, which is very cute and ties onto your shoelaces. And I've actually seen it work sort of like the cul-de-sac effect. One kid gets one, the other kid goes, that's so cute, I want one too. And I've seen whole schools join this GeoPals fitness movement because they're adorable. And when you walk all day, you take your Fitbits back, you plug it in, and you win things, whether it's trailers, whether it's gifts on Amazon. So it's a terrific way for kids to understand the most complicated computer of them all, which is us. And literally, in terms of our booth sizes, we do lots of different shows, but the sports and fitness part grew 3 times from what it was a year ago, and it's all a matter of people wanting to track their bodies. So health is sort of like the new happening area, and I think you'll see it trickling down to more activities for kids where we had an app called Find It, which was a cute little scavenger hunt where you play it with your phone. Somebody tells you, find something blue, you click it, you send it back to them. I know in New York now they're doing iPhone scavenger hunts for kids. You can join up on the weekend. So this idea of mixing the mobility of the phone with the internet, with this bunch of things is going to be hugely popular.
Right, one thing is GeoPals has been around for a while.
Forever.
And they weren't really successful at the beginning, was my take.
Right.
They were trying to pair with a video game, and you had to type in the number of steps, and you could just add a couple of zeros and whatever and get the rewards. And it was kind of nice to see them stick with the play pattern. And now that they've used the technology, it's low Bluetooth, right?
Yes.
That way.
No, now it's still USB. It still take the device off and you have to plug it in.
Yeah, but it's an automatic sync
Right,
versus, and they're having more success. So I think the jury's still out whether they'll be around next year, but I think they have a lot better chance with this
Yeah,
device.
the other one to watch is Hope Labs. Hope Labs started with a video game called Remission that actually gave kids suffering cancer the power to play a game and beat their cancer cells, and then they moved on to the fitness idea, and they too have a product, I forget their product's name, but it's
CMC.
Zamsi, but it's also you wear it all day, you plug it in at night, it records the number of steps and the amount of activity that you've done, and then rewards you for those behaviors. So I think it will be really interesting to watch us use technology to reward kids for being active. And two things you didn't see at CES this year that I expected more of. One on the adult side was mobile wallets. They kind of tanked this holiday season, so nobody's quite ready for that yet. And the other was more for kids, and now it just went out of my head. It'll come back.
Web Connect, tangible toy.
Second screens
Second
in
screen,
general.
okay.
Like you saw just the beginning of what play would be like with a second screen. Very little. It's a very hot buzzword in the industry now, but I think parents are terrified that one screen is quite enough for their children at one time, and the thought of two is absolutely terrifying. And I think we're going to have to get through a lot of ADD problems before we really get to how to use the second screen correctly. Thank you for the memory job.
All right. So thanks. Yeah, it was great. Dale Doherty won the Life Legend Prize. The khakis are you guys made some nominations. The idea is to do a group think and try to put the CES spotlight on 9 products, and it's all Robin and one person. It's really Robin's supporting this idea to let it happen. So. I would say instead of Dale Doherty, though, I think Jean Piaget is really the person, or before him, Froebel, and so on. The idea of constructivism is very powerful. I think Dale has done a great job at sort of turning making money and cashing in on it with Make, and doing a great job, and I'm not against money and so on. And certainly, Michael Colombo is really, it's perfect for where he's at. Scott and David, did you have anything to add? Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Traylor, CEO and Chief Kid of 360 Kid. I'm running a children's digital development studio now for 21 years. And, sorry? There's no sound?
No need one sound?
No, there's no. I've got a couple of slides here to share from CES, just 2 things. In terms of business development services, my company offers, online and gaming and app development and so forth. But I really got hooked on following the virtual world space, and I have Jim Gray to thank for it, who is here tonight. I remember, gosh, it was 2006 maybe. You gave a presentation on Club Penguin here at Duster Magic, and just a few days before my daughter came in and started playing something on her computer, and I look over in my home office and say, "What are you doing there?" She goes, "Like, I'm playing something called Club Penguin." I'm like, "Wait a minute, I'm in the industry, how come I don't know about this?" And it was one of those things where just kids on the playground shared with one another, and it wasn't spread through, through traditional PR channels. And anyway, I've been collecting data ever since Jim's presentation. And what I'm showing you here is a slide of the last 2 years of collected uniques by month to 556 virtual worlds. Not all of them are for children. I don't have an exact number of the number for children, but it is somewhere around 110, 130. And you can see month to month what the aggregate uniques are across the last 2 years. And on this next slide, while there are many different ways of slicing virtual world data, a couple of interesting trends came up. Ordinarily, the virtual world space is broken up into 12 different categories, and I just picked out 4, those being role play and quest-based MMOs and virtual worlds, creative expression, toy-based worlds, and worlds that are based upon TV, movies, popular books. And the amazing thing, if you look at the numbers, that creative expression, not only in virtual worlds, but I would argue also in apps, also in online, is a really powerful place to be for children right now. In the last year, the creative expression chart, while it's hard to tell from this slope, has increased almost 3 times.
An example?
The examples are Minecraft, Roblox, Woo's World. And we have a representative from Woo's World here tonight, Travel Nova, or now they've spun off, I think, that group. But anyway, it's interesting how much of the market share has been really taken over by creative expression in online worlds for children, but I would also argue in the app space as well. At CES, a common thing with apps that app developers, I don't think the crowd was keenly aware of it, but the word creative expression came up an awful lot. Surprisingly, the toy space was down, I think it was 51% over the last year. One might argue that's something like Webkins, but that actually remains rather strong. The biggest downfall in the toy space was Lego Universe. And TV, film, and books is down 50% over the last year too. And the big surprise there is Disney and the 5 or 6 virtual worlds that they have, in addition to Club Penguin, Pirates of the Caribbean, Pixie Hollow, what are some other ones? Sorry, I'm just blanking here for the moment, but they have, the space has eroded significantly because of all virtual worlds that Disney is in control of, except for Club Penguin. But there are other examples as well. Let me see, Kung Fu Panda is down, and one other popular one. Clone Wars Adventures, I'm surprised, hasn't hung in there.
Scott, what does it mean?
What does what mean? What does all of this mean?
What does it all mean?
Well, I mean, gosh, it's such a smorgasbord for kids. I mean, they could enjoy whatever medium they want and whatever they want it delivered to them. It's not just about apps, it's not just about online, it's just not about ebooks. There are so many choices. And ironically, and I wonder if David Kleeman might be able to comment on this sometime over the event, I'm curious about what this means to Nielsen and television viewing and the erosion of viewership by kids with television if their medium of choice is the tablet or is the computer. And that's it.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Warren.
I know that I sent out an email asking for TVs, and like everyone wants to give away their TV. So we are all set for TVs. We only needed 4, and I really appreciate your ability to help. But I was thinking maybe there's something to that. Take that bloody TV. I've got Wi-Fi. David. Oh, cool. All right. Isn't that awesome? It works. It's freedom.
I'm going to skip over the things that people have already mentioned. So the one about book, that sounds familiar. You heard Claire talk about growing role of ebooks. I will say I've been a little disappointed in what I've seen in the past year with ebooks. I hope that she's right, that we're on the verge of really breaking into something new. And then Robin mentioned second screen. And I think that may be part of the answer, Scott, to your question, that I think the television world is desperately looking at second screen as a way of bringing kids back to the television while they're still on the tablet, on the phone, that may be their next line of attack. The first thing on my list is, did you know you could watch TV on that thing? I have been blown away by the number of efforts under development that I've seen in the last year from people who are trying to bring sort of orphaned television programs to the tablet or the mobile space, who are looking at programs from around the world that could be brought in that aren't coming to the U.S. through the usual gatekeepers, or are looking at programs that have been on the air but are no longer on the air. I've come across just in the last 3 days a site where someone is taking programs that are produced but not yet sold to a broadcaster and putting them up so that you can develop an audience in the hope of then attracting a broadcaster. So suddenly television is coming to the tablet. This goes to what Scott was saying as well. Mr. Gatekeeper, look behind you. The television gatekeepers are petrified. They're the people who are curating channels, curating blocks, know that kids are going places where they don't have to worry about a gatekeeper, where YouTube, any of those sites where they can see what they want to see, they can chain from one to another, and they're not at the whim of a broadcaster's schedule. And then the last one I was going to mention is parallel play. I'm doing a talk in a couple of weeks about tablets, digital media as generational connectors. And I went in with this wonderful view of, parents and kids are playing together, and I found some great apps and some great games and things that really are connecting parents and grandparents and kids. But the more I talk to people, the more I also hear, well, they're not really. The generational connector right now is mom sits on the couch watching her program on her tablet, and kid sits on the couch watching his program on his tablet. And it's parallel play, it's not playing together. And that is it for me.
That's it?
That's it.
All right, let me turn it over to you. What are some key trends that need to be, we need to make sure that we talk about? Key products or key trends we need to discuss. There's a microphone somewhere in the middle, if you want to shout it out in the microphone. But, oh, okay. Yeah.
I prefer to come from the digital book world. I was interested there about the balance between reading pleasure and digital with two people who mentioned books. Reading pleasure reading as something you have to learn. And in Europe, I feel it's a bit more of a tendency towards reading for pleasure. And in the US, I'm wondering about how much parents are going to demand assessment being built in. You mentioned ability, which is the skill, actually. But it's not very enough to carry that. Do you have educational expectations? Really what baked in somehow? How they're so deep somehow, particularly in those.
And then, of course, is Kate from Nosy Crow. And you've done the rounds. And I would say the round of the Franklin Frog, it's really, it's so great that you're here, and that to sort of break away from the page flipper. I've been seeing a lot of the assessment parent panels. I'm amazed by what the iPad has been able to do in terms of tracking progress and keeping bookmarking so that you come back and it starts back at the same page. Any particular products that are doing it well? I mean, I showed Letter School where the star sort of sticks.
I suppose I'm not just unhealthy, I'm quite resistant to it. For me, reading is a sort of private space for children or a shared space with adults that's pleasure. It's not, I don't want to be tuition. So it's not something I have been confident in. And then the case which was wrong about the only problem I was in this section, which is like really focusing on this more.
It's called validity. I mean, what does it mean to the outside world? It might say that you're, master of whatever this particular app, but does it really mean something? And I think that's the big question.
For the folks at home that, until we get the microphone going, can you just repeat for the folks at home?
Yes, sure.
In our home audience.
Well, this is how it goes.
Okay.
What Kate was saying was, assessment, measuring inside of interactive experiences is certainly something that we're seeing more of, and we're seeing people trying to do it. I'm seeing it not done well, or not done with outside validity, or you know, the significance of, I mean, what does it really mean?
I agree. I feel a lot of people stuck home, and it kind of looks okay, and it actually isn't doing anything. And we were, to some degree, for example, sorry, I didn't promise, but especially highlighting text, which we did in the course of this year. And that's fine, but the idea that I'm pretending that prolonged exposure to medical apps will render your child a computer, without any kind of other intervention, feels really specious to you.
And I think the answer is ask a teacher and see what they try to measure, and you can help them. Like I always like the one where at the end it shows you've touched these words how many times. Just quantitative, kind of what Robin was saying, that your body is quantifying that you've taken so many steps and you've done so many things. How many words did you write? How many words did you touch? How active were you? Yeah.
A lot of the conversation so far has been about siloed content.
We can hear you a little bit. Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Beth Marcus, Playeriferic. Just here for a little while, but a lot of the discussion is about siloed content. It's books, or it's videos, or it's virtual worlds. And in our experiences, 3 years of experimenting, kids consume content however they want to, and they explore. And we as app and content and platform developers can do a better job of engaging kids to explore and learn if we take a note from how they explore and learn and build it into our delivery of our systems and let them talk with their fingers as to what they like and how they like to connect. Okay. So I think it's sort of an interesting topic.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else want to add anything? Jim? Jim Gray always has something to say. Well, I mean, something to add.
I was also going to add, with my second grader, getting him ready for school, what I'll do is I'll say, Sam, what time is it? When it's like only 10 minutes left, and then he'll yell, it's 8:58, we gotta go. So Warren, what time is it?
5:58, we gotta go. 5:58, we gotta go.
Hi, Warren. Hi, Warren. So yeah, off the top of my head, what I'm thinking about is open, a huge space that's open, and very few people are taking advantage. Well, that space would be teachers, tools and teachers, integrated way, in an integrated way around a classroom or somewhere. So the message from Silicon Valley is there's still a lot of people want to fund this kind of thing. People want to fund disconnect between the people in the classroom, what to do with these classroom devices, what to do with these land. My own interest is early childhood. My own interest is early childhood. There's a few little apps that are good. Find a few little apps that are good. Not familiar with it. You'll not familiar with the potential about the way think about the way these open up the digital world to potential of that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But in the context where people, you might have to do with it, and you might have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, Aaron reminds us that Stack States is one guy who's pretty much made this app. And you have states fall, and they have states fall, and they have text states on them, and text states forming, and Florida's going to shake, and Florida's going to stand, Pinson, Dan Russell, and he's outselling, people like Scholastic. That's insane. That's insane. What does every fifth grade kid cover? Teacher, the states. And so there's a pretty good app. You've got David and Goliath going on. You've got David and Goliath. So, and I think that's just one. Because the teacher ask him what he wants to teach. Ask him what he wants to teach. Give him a tool. Make something. He'll sell him a tool of apps. And he'll sell it. And then name it something really obvious. Like letters. I think sometimes we overthink stuff. And just do it.
The other thing to add to that would be talk to teachers not very early on.
Yeah.
Not having.
Thanks. Very good. Thanks. My gosh, that was amazing. My gosh, that was amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
So coming back to I think we're seeing. I think in schools. Interestingly, in schools, feel we're seeing a shift from teachers like they just pick and choose one that they like, to schools put a number of iPads and starting to look for full programs. The biggest challenge is that the technology is not really following in terms of Wi-Fi. The teachers want tracking. They want to have class report and have a class report and see which students are doing. But in order to do that, we need the those iPads that are actually in servers to some kind of Wi-Fi servers, and the Wi-Fi is still not there. So big disconnect, definitely a shift from apps to principals and tech administrators starting to really choose full program.
All right, so believe it or not, we haven't even started. Doesn't just yet. This is just a taste. This is like an hors d'oeuvre. This is like an hors d'oeuvre. Jasper, you want to say last word?
The whole idea was to just really have something to get that's really long, we get the better result about kids in the education, what we unfortunately found was emails, those stacks were really low. And then what we did is we had some more emotional pictures on the kids. They captured that out the actions, and now opening rates went 70%. Opening rate stuff like this, and this. What we realized is that okay, the one in Asia needs to be more emotional, and then when we need that, then we can start. And then when we have that, then we can start. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, so now we're gonna have some fun. This is why we came. This is why this ways. All this way. We have Jesse. Jesse's working. Jesse's not here because he's working on coming up some stuff right. So we're going over to the restaurant. Now the actual restaurant is the actual train station that was designed by the architect that designed the Claire Green. You want to say anything? Claire Green. You want to say anything about that? I don't want to go on and be next. Are we gonna have updates on it? All right. Okay, Robin. That's strange. So, your schedule again, your micro schedule roadmap. This will be your roadmap. Have your lasers. Take your lasers. There's a detailed schedule. On page 3 of your handout. That'll walk you through what's going to happen. Basically, what's different this year, we're going over to the restaurant. We're going to listen to Jesse. Then we're going to come right back to here. And that's stuff a little bit. Just going to mix stuff a little bit. And then we're going to do some playing. So that's pretty much it. You all enjoy the meal that's coming. It's right around. Any questions, Darren? We need to talk about it.
No. They say we're walking down there.
So get over there as quick as you can. I really don't know what it looks like,
But the mode is just grab it.
Yeah, try to sit with some never sat with somebody who's never been sat with before is probably good advice. Dinner time.